26. Tadashi turned on the TV. The three of them stood together in Kei's living room. They've been teasing it through the entire show. Shoyo nudged Kei. Your life will never be the same. Tadashi turned to Shoyo. Do you have your own publicist? Because if anyone's life is about to change, it's yours. I can't afford you, Tadashi. I'll give you a deal. Kei pointed at the TV. Here we go. And the story you've been waiting for. Has life imitated art? The star himself isn't talking. But a new photo might just say it all. Kei Tsukihina, star of the highly rated series Leo's Appeal, has spoken extensively about his character, Leo Harden, falling in love with a man. Played by Shoyo Hinata of the daytime soap Light of Day. What he hasn't talked about are the rumors currently swirling around the two actors that seem to hint at a real-life romance. Is this photo taken on Saturday at a Starbucks in West Hollywood proof that Kei Tsukihina is just as in love with Shoyo Hinata as Leo is with Colin? Take a look, folks. And let us know what you think on Twitter and Facebook. Tadashi turned off the TV. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. What's next? Kei had been here before. He knew what was next. Dating Grace Ferris. Then eloping. Then divorcing her. The paparazzi had been relentless through it all. He shivered at the thought of what was next. But it would be worth it. He tried to tell himself. He was mostly asking the question for Shoyo's sake. Tadashi would be more diplomatic in his descriptions. A paparazzi shitstorm. Kei's eyes shuttered closed. So much for diplomacy, Tadashi. You'll be hounded until they get something more concrete. Which we're not going to give them. Not yet anyway. And Shoyo, you need to warn your family. If you want any other advice from me, I have a contract out in my car. Kei turned to Shoyo. I don't usually say this when he's in the room. But Tadashi is the best. And you'll want him in front of you on this. Also, things could get a bit complicated if you were to go with someone else. Shoyo gave him a nod. Get the contract. Tadashi. Excellent. I need an hour with both of you. Right now. As Tadashi walked to the front door, both Shoyo and Kei's phones started ringing. For the next few hours. Let everyone leave a voicemail. Tadashi yelled back at them. Shoyo hated lying to his father. He covered his eyes with his hand. Hey, are you there? Yeah, Dad. I'm here. So, are the rumors true? Are you really dating Kei? Yeah, it just happened. Unexpectedly. Shoyo knew his dad wouldn't be surprised by the news. He'd seen something between them. Too bad whatever he'd seen wasn't real. That's the best kind. When you don't see it coming. Your mother and I. Dad. Shoyo didn't want to cry. And if his father told him the story that he'd heard 1,000 times before. Tell me, Dad. Tell me about you and Mom. Ben chuckled into the phone. You know the story. And I'm so happy for you. You have everything you want now. Right? A job. Doing what you love. A good man. Who could ask for more? Shoyo's heart sank. One day soon. He'd have to admit that he'd lied to him. Yeah, guess so. Do you love him, son? You sound kind of sad. Shoyo stood in the doorway of the guest house. He could see Kei in the main house. Wiping down the kitchen counter. Even though it wasn't dirty. Yeah, I love him, Dad. He's amazing. He's my everything. My dream man. He chuckled to himself. I'm, so gone I can barely breathe. He bent over and put a hand on his knee. Trying to get some air. Breathe. I know the feeling. But you have to keep breathing. Keep moving. And when it feels right. You know what to do. Yeah, I do. Shoyo gasped for air. His emotions surfacing. I'm so happy for you. Ben's voice cracked. I could see it when I was there. How good you two are together. It's different. You know? How so? Shoyo stood back up, holding his stomach as he watched Kei. I liked Tobio. But to see you with someone like Kei, so much your equal, a good partner. Was his dad crying? He pressed the phone to his ear. Dad? I'm fine, son. It just makes me think of your mother and how happy she'd be for you. Shoyo couldn't take it anymore. He'd be devastated when he and Kei broke up in a few months. God, how would he ever tell him the truth? It broke his heart. Just thinking about it. I have to go now. Dad, if anyone bothers you, just give them Tadashi's phone number, okay? I will. Take care. Shoyo sat on the end of a lounger with his phone clasped between his hands, covering his mouth, almost like he was praying. He was so deep in thought. He jumped when Kei shouted, "Drinks outside?" Yeah. It was an unseasonably warm evening. Not a cloud in the sky and very little breeze blowing. Shoyo moved closer to the main house where two loungers were sitting next to each other with a table in between. Kei set the wine glasses on the table and handed the bottle to Shoyo. "Will you do the honors?" Shoyo read the label before he opened it. "This looks familiar. Yeah. Remember the wine Jean sent to the table at Nobu? Oh, I loved that wine. I know. And we have a lot to celebrate." Kei lay back in the lounger, looking relaxed and happy. Pretty much the exact opposite of how Shoyo was feeling. "You know, I've lived in this house for a few years now. And I've never spent this much time out here. It's really quite beautiful. I love it out here. The swimming pool is about the size of my apartment in New York. So I kind of feel like I'm on a permanent vacation." Shoyo twisted the corkscrew into the bottle. "I'm glad you're happy here." Shoyo didn't reply, so Kei turned to him. "You are happy here, right?" Shoyo ignored the question as he poured the wine. He held out his glass for a toast. "What are we celebrating?" Kei didn't pick up his glass. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. To the good life. Now, hit my glass." Kei raised his glass. "To the good life. Now, tell me what's wrong." Shoyo swirled and inhaled the wine before he took a sip. "It's just Tobio and my dad. He's so excited about us. He can hardly contain himself. Meanwhile, Tobio is not giving up." Kei was silent for a minute. So Shoyo leaned back on the lounger. He glanced at Kei's shorts and let his eyes wander down his legs. "Do you want to go for a swim? Are you trying to get me naked?" Shoyo shrugged. "You go in the hot tub naked. So why not the pool? You're not very subtle. You like that about me. Now tell me what we're celebrating." Shoyo knew, but he wanted to hear it from Kei. Get his take on how things went with his big coming out. Kei turned to Shoyo, excitement filling his eyes. "We're celebrating the fact that the world doesn't seem to mind that I've fallen in love with a man." The phrasing wasn't lost on Shoyo. Nor was the fact that his heart skipped a beat. As usual, the joy lasted about 2 seconds before Kei slapped him back into reality. Not the fake reality, but the real reality. "It's a real shame they don't give Emmys for this shit because we're selling the hell out of it." Shoyo forced a smile. "We sure are. They really seem to love it. I can't thank you enough. Sho. I know it's been a pain in the ass to take care of me and carry on this little charade. You're paying me well. I've never had so much cash in the bank." Kei turned onto his side, fully facing Shoyo. "Is there anything else I can do for you? Anything else you can do for me? What is this shit?" If Kei was going to have the nerve to say it like that. All lying on his side being sexy while he said it. Shoyo would let his eyes wander down Kei's bare legs and back up to his chest again. "You know what I want." He motioned with his head toward the pool. "And you say I'm gay." Shoyo downed the rest of the glass and poured himself more wine. He took a big swallow and picked up his phone. "Would you like some music? I'm sure I have a striptease on here somewhere." Kei didn't take his eyes off Shoyo, waiting for him to make eye contact again. When he finally did, he said, "How many seconds would it take for me to seduce you?" Shoyo's eyebrows rose. "Seconds? God, you're so arrogant. I'm taking into account the glass and a half of wine you just drank in under a minute." This was a trick of some kind. Shoyo wouldn't fall for it. He was smarter than that. His eyes flicked to Kei's chest again. He pulled his eyes away and said, "You have no intention of trying to seduce me, so it's really a moot point." He lifted his glass. "Cheers." 30 seconds? A minute? Shoyo ignored the question, sipping his wine and keeping his eyes straight ahead. Kei set his glass down and stood up. "I think all it would take is me holding out my hand." Shoyo shook his head in disgust. You're the one who wanted to play." Kei said, lowering his hand. "You're always flirting and blatantly catcalling and trying to get me naked." but the second I say anything. I've never flirted with you. Shoyo took another sip of his wine. Not once. What are you talking about? Of course you have. Appreciated your gorgeous figure? Yes. I've definitely done that. But you got naked in front of me all on your own. And of course I'm going to look. You knew that when you stripped down to nothing. But you've never flirted? Kei asked in confusion. Shoyo shook his head. Why would I? Kei sat back down. Why wouldn't you? Because flirting is real. And we're not real. Which of course is something you constantly feel the need to remind me of. And eventually, you're going to fake break up with me and I'm going to pack my real bags and walk away from here with a shitload of real cash and another season on network primetime fucking must-see TV. So, gratitude, yes. But flirting? No. Kei looked both sad and confused. Like he was in the middle of being dumped. Was he really so clueless? Shoyo took a deep breath and softened his tone. Kei, I really hope you'll call Gene Strong when this is all over and ask him out because you deserve it. You deserve to have the real thing. And now that you're out, well, they're going to be banging down your door. Because someone like you doesn't stay single for long. I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Shoyo raised an eyebrow. Really? Because I thought the nicest thing I ever said to you was that your nipple felt good in my mouth. Kei flopped back on the lounger. Laughing. You never said that. Oh really? I meant to mention it after we shot our love scene. Because what I got out of it felt great. Kei shook his head as he smiled. You confound me. How is that not considered flirting? Shoyo didn't have much self-control left. If this wasn't some sort of trick to get him to admit his feelings for Kei. And they actually ended up having sex. Kei would regret it so badly. He'd probably try to kick Shoyo out in the morning. Again. And Shoyo's heart would be broken. Again. He grabbed his phone and slid into his flip-flops. You can't just hold out your fucking hand. Kei, you also have to tell me you love me. And by the way, you're both the smartest and dumbest man I've ever met if you didn't already know that. He grabbed the bottle of wine, what was left of it, and stood up. Also, you'd fucking know it if I flirted with you for real. Because you wouldn't be able to resist it. And I'd have been 3 fingers deep by now. He turned and marched to the guest house. Sho, come back. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. Come back, Sho. We have to celebrate. Celebrate. That seemed to be something they were incapable of doing together. Shoyo held up the bottle as he kept walking. To the good life.